The speaker's headed to the White House today. You've been with him. How's the mood?
I want to give him a big hug. He's always so upbeat, and he doesn't drink, so I don't know how he does it.
At the end of the week, Washington empties out fast. Lawmakers, staffers, they're all heading home. But not before they stop here.
Hello and welcome back to the Punchbowl News Townhouse for another episode of Flyout Day. I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
Well, yesterday we saw a remarkable flameout of a bipartisan, bicameral housing bill that President Donald Trump basically torched in a True Social post. Is another cell phone, I think, that surprised and certainly ticked off a lot of Republicans.
Yeah, this was like the easiest layup of a win in presidential history. They literally had a stage set up for them to come to the Capitol. There was a podium in the middle of Statuary Hall. This is something that had Republican support and Democratic support. Nothing gets 350 votes in the House anymore. This got, I think, 350 something votes or something like that. Got a ton of votes in the Senate. And all he had to do was come and sign and say, I am making housing more affordable for people. I have worked with Republicans and Democrats to do so. He decided not to do that. This also would have fulfilled a massive campaign pledge of his and a State of the Union pledge of his to take private equity or to get private equity's influence to push it down in the housing industry. He decided not to do that, and it's really angered a lot of people, and I don't know where we go from here. It's all because of the Save America Act and the filibuster.
All right, well, we have a great guest to talk about this in the Townhouse, New York Representative Andrew Garbarino. He is the House Homeland Security Chairman, but he also sits on the Housing and Insurance Subcommittee on House Financial Services. What are we going to see out of this conversation today, Jake?
A lot to cover, especially on the Homeland Security front, including AI, which is a huge issue for him, huge issue for Congress, huge issue for the world, AI safety, America 250, World Cup. We have the Olympics in 2 years. Are we ready? Are we safe? Are we prepared? He is also a graduate of George Washington University like me. So we will not discuss much of that, but it will be, I think it will be brought up.
All right, we've got a lot to get to with the chairman. After our interview, we'll have on reporter Sarah Ferris of CNN and our very own Andrew Desiderio joining us to break down that conversation. But first, a quick note from our presenting sponsor, the American Petroleum Institute.
Presented by the American Petroleum Institute. Across the country, energy workers are ready to build America's future. But critical energy projects are stalled by a broken permitting process. Congress must pass permitting reform. Learn more at permittingreformnow.org.
Andrew Garbarino, New York Republican who chairs the House Homeland Security Committee. Welcome to Flyout Day.
Thanks for having me.
And a graduate of the GW class of 2006. So we have 2 GW grads compared to 1 St. Olaf grad. So
I got to keep my end of the bargain up as hard as much as possible.
Whatever that bargain is, go ahead.
All right, we'll get started here. The president torched the bipartisan housing bill yesterday. Do you have any hope that this gets untangled and passed ahead of the midterms, or is it just over?
I wouldn't say torch. He delayed.
Come on. They set up the podium here. Everybody's ready.
Maybe he has the great idea of signing it out in some middle of Midwest town. All these blue collar workers behind him. Maybe that's a great idea. I think. He
didn't like the stagecraft.
Yeah, I think it was maybe a little much for him, so he decided he wanted to do it somewhere else. I think it's going to get done.
Okay, let's talk about. And I want to get to all of your issues after this, but center stage in the House is at the House, and we're filming this on Thursday morning. The House is frozen right now, right? Can't bring anything to the floor. Anna Paulina Luna says she wants the Save America Act attached to something done. I don't know why she thinks freezing the House floor will free it up on the Senate floor. But anyway, is there a way forward that you see?
I hope so. The Speaker somehow always finds a way forward.
He does. I don't know how. But.
He pulls a lot of rabbits out of the hat. But I think we'll get something done. Maybe we just put Save America in every rule and have her vote against them.
I think she wants to put Save America in the NDAA or FISA. FISA's in your territory, kind of. So that I'm not sure that's a great idea.
It's tough. Listen, it's tough when you have colleagues that were never legislators before, never in the minority before. It's some of them I think would prefer to be in the minority.
A lot of them would be.
So I was in the state assembly, so I know the role of coming together and getting things done, especially when you're in the minority. Other colleagues do not. So I just hope this is a learning experience for some of them, realizing you can't always get everything you want. I don't know if some of them are willing to learn that, but I do think somehow the speaker always finds a way, and I have faith in him to do that. I hope so, because I don't want to just keep coming here every week and do nothing.
Yeah, that's
going to get people in trouble.
It
Yes. The speaker's headed to the White House today. You've been with him. What was the conversation like? How's the mood?
I want to give him a big hug. He's always so upbeat, and he doesn't drink, so I don't know how he does it. But he's always so upbeat, and luckily the president takes his counsel very seriously. So he'll get it done. Again, he's the guy that can somehow always get things done. We just, again, a couple members, we had breakfast with him this week, and it's nice to get to know him on that personal level. He's a really great guy, and he cares a lot about the country, cares a lot about the conference, even though people
don't care that much about him.
Spit in his face, kick him in the balls, and he's got to hug him afterwards.
We're in the middle of the World Cup. America 250 is next week, but all the festivities have already begun. We have the Olympics in 2028, which is not far away, something you're probably already thinking about as Homeland Security Chair. That's a run of a lot of soft targets on the United States. Is America prepared for this run of massive events?
The two shutdowns did not help. The shutdowns of the Homeland Department did not help. But they're working overtime to get things done. I am hugely concerned about the cyber attacks, especially on these mass events, as well as drone incursions. And it's actually the sites I'm not worried about. It's more of the softer targets of the fan zones, the parties, the stadiums that are having these games now, the stadiums that are having the Olympics. They've done this before. They do it for NFL games. They do it for baseball games. They do it for whatever. Those guys know how to handle security. It's the other parts, the fan zones, the places in parks that are softer, much softer targets. So I have a much more concern about that. And with FISA being down, it's tough to know what the bad guys are thinking.
Could I follow up on that quickly? What is a cyber attack? I mean, drone attack, we kind of understand. There could be a drone that shoots something, or that is a suicide drone like we've seen in the Middle East. What does a cyber attack look like on an event like this?
Well, I mean, you look, there was actually a cyber attack at the Olympics in Paris. They somehow got into the system several years before, 2 years before the Olympics kicked off, and they actually shut down. We didn't see it because on TV it didn't affect the broadcast, but when the clock ran out at zero on this opening ceremony, it shut down everything. They shut down everything that happened. Keys didn't work to get into the doors. You couldn't buy anything. I mean, it shut down everything. So, when you talk about it wasn't a mass casualty event, but it affected, the entire site of the Olympics. You could have something that could, you shut down water going to a facility. You shut down electricity. I mean, there are major things that could affect the Olympics or a World Cup game. And it's not just about stealing information. You can, if they could get into the operation side of some of these systems, that's very, very scary.
So a lot of what you're describing is the need for intelligence collection, right? And kind of going back over time. So let's talk about FISA. Section 702 has become one of these Washington fights where everyone talks in abstractions, right? Put it plainly to us. With the statute lapsed, what is the practical impact?
What is the practical impact? It depends. I mean, it really if the telecom companies decide we're not going to do this collection anymore without the liability protection, the practical impact is we are in a very dangerous spot. We have been able to stop so many terrorist attacks because of access to information we've gotten from 702 that not having that access is dangerous. And I'll tell you, I've spoken with so many people in the Intelligence Committee, so many people in the Homeland Security community. All the centers that do this intelligence gathering and sharing are all very worried that they will not have access to what they need. I was just in Chicago, and they're using FISA F702 to help go after the cartels because the president declared them foreign terrorist organizations. So I mean, we have been able to do a lot of good work with the information we've gotten from 702 and stop a lot of bad things from happening. So if this stays if this stays dark, I am concerned, especially with the 25th anniversary of 9/11 coming up. I'm very concerned about something happening.
Yeah, I mean, so existing wiretaps can continue until 2027, right? But it's new wiretaps that can't be started. Is that the basic gist of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's and by the way, there's always new information coming in.
Right? No,
so
I'm not downplaying.
You need access to that
Right.
to the new stuff. I mean, you can't just you can't just rely on old taps. I mean, we need to be able to have the best tools at our disposal and be able to use them. And right now, we don't.
So the president has tied FISA to election legislation. Do you think that's responsible? Should a national security tool that you just kind of talked about how important it is, right? Think about 9/11, think about the Olympics, all of these things. Should a national security tool be used as leverage for the Save America Act?
I think I want the Save America Act passed yesterday. I mean, I want the FISA passed yesterday. I also voted for Save America Act twice. I think we voted for it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for ID when you're voting. Whatever gets FISA passed is what I would support. And again, if somehow it works out where you both get FISA done and Save America Act, I think the speaker has better ideas on how to get Save America Act done than tying it to FISA. So, I understand the president wants to get the Save America Act done. I want to get it done. We just have to find the proper pathway, and I'm not sure. It can't get done attached to FISA. Democrats won't vote for it. So knowing it can't get done, it's probably not the best way to push it.
Let's talk about AI, which is something that your committee and something that Congress is effectively nowhere on. I'm not saying you guys are nowhere on it, but like as an institution, we saw this with the platforms with Facebook back in the day and Twitter and all this stuff. It takes like a decade for Congress to figure anything out of use. There seems to be two competing worldviews. And by the way, this ties into American 250. It ties into the Olympics and all these big events. But let's talk about the basics here in the AI debate. One is the worldview is to deploy American AI aggressively so China doesn't win. The other is slow down, test, restrict, because these models could create catastrophic cyber or bio risks. Where do you kind of come down on this stuff?
We need access to these frontier models to be able to protect our systems. If I have seen, Anthropic came in and actually gave our committee a demonstration on Mythos. I have seen what it can do.
And Mythos is this, just so everyone knows, and it's the very high level Anthropic model.
Yes, and they came in and they showed us what it could do, and it's scary.
Like what? Give me.
They came in and they showed us that they told the model to find a vulnerability in a bank and empty accounts, and it then went and did it. It also then say find this vulnerability and fix it, and it did. It showed us that as well.
Why are they showing you that? That seems to be like not a great case for that.
Because the problem is Congress, as you said, we're very slow moving and we're usually reactive and not proactive.
Right.
So I think they're showing us that to be like, this is where we are, guys. Like, you can't wait for something like this to happen before you react, because that'll be too late. We have access to the models right now in America. China does not. China, though, we're hearing 3-4 months behind us. I mean, we can't we can't continue to defend at human speed when they're going to be using computer speed to attack us. It's not going to work out. We need to be able to defend at computer speed, and having access to models like Mythos to shore up our systems before there's an attack is very important. It is anybody that would sit and go through and watch the demonstration of these models would understand that very clearly, that we need to act soon.
So, I mean, obviously severity is not lost on you. The ability for it to
Don't empty my bank account, please.
send an email. Sometimes I think it might be with some people, but given that, like you say, Congress needs to act soon, Washington needs to act soon. It doesn't feel like that. The urgency is there.
It isn't. And I don't. By the way, I say act. I don't know what the answer is.
No one does. That's the problem.
Listen. I'm very happy that the White House did something with an EO. I'm happy with that. I mean, I'm happy that they included FISA in that as well. I appreciate Jay Openolte and Lori Trahan coming out with something. Like, people are trying to do it, but I'd say 95% of my colleagues don't understand, what the hell's going on. And I'm not sure if they all want to. Again, Congress is a reactive body. We don't really act. We definitely don't act quickly. In my opinion, the Senate really doesn't legislate at all. So it's tough to get anything done when the Senate doesn't do much. House likes to do things, but the real problem here is we don't know what the answer is. We don't know what we have to do. I think federal preemption is something that should be part of it. But my number one concern, especially when it comes to AI and these models, is cybersecurity.
That's a huge concern. Yeah. I mean, that's not like a minor thing. It's a major thing.
I mean, we've had roundtables at the committee, and throughout Big Open, all these groups have come in, and they've been not open hearings, discussions, and they've been amazing. I've had such great participation from members of both sides come in, and you start talking about utilities, water utilities, power plants, that these systems were never supposed to be digital, but now they are. So you have possible vulnerabilities in those systems that might not be able to be fixed, and all of a sudden you're going to find it out, and it's like, well, now we have to pull everything off. I mean, there's so many concerns, and it's one thing when information is lost or information is hacked, but it's another when the operation side, is hacked. And now it's like, well, we're going to turn off this gas pipeline, or we're going to increase the amount of chlorine or whatever we're putting in the water. I mean, this is stuff that is scary. And, you have, with these new AI models, you have the ability to not just learn how to do it, but to tell it to do it for you. And that is scary.
But on that topic, I just want to follow up here on before we move away from AI. It's tough because you can't put AI back in a box, right? Like, so you can't go as Congress, and I'm not suggesting you're saying this, but you can't as Congress say, well, you no longer could do all, you have to slow down, or I don't know what you say.
I don't think we should slow down. I think we should be involved in testing. I think guardrails have to be in place. We saw the DHS came in and showed us what a jailbroken AI model could do. I mean, I asked it the question of how to kidnap a congressman, and in 30 seconds, it gave me a plan on how to kidnap a congressman. And so this is what happens when you have these models with no guardrails. So, I mean, we have to be involved. You don't want to. I do thank God that we have access to these models before China does. I'm happy that we have.
There's some theory. There's some theory that actually that I'm sure you've heard this, that these models are actually in the hands of companies that have ties to China and have given them to China.
Yeah, I would think if they did, I think things would be worse right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. You're right. That's a great point.
All right.
We don't know.
And that's what's scary.
Go ahead. Shift gears here. We want to end on New York politics. You're New York
already?
I know. We just getting started, getting warmed up here. You're a New York Republican. Hakeem Jeffries thinks Democrats have major opportunities in New York. Make the case why he's wrong.
And you guys have no opinions on Hakeem Jeffries. I know New Yorkers are very cool and chill on Jeffries.
I love that New York City keeps on being it's the gift that keeps on giving to Republicans. I mean, I can't wait to run against some of these candidates, and be like, this is what you're voting for. And I mean, you look at some of the Democrats that won this week. It's crazy to me. I mean, one of them was just on, I think, TV or something last night, talking about how they want to nationalize the airline industry and get rid of pre-check. And it's like, what the hell is going on here? And there's a lot of them. So no, they have no. That's why they're trying to redraw the maps in New York, because they
will redraw the maps.
Well, actually, a poll came out today or yesterday saying that the gerrymandered initiative is very unpopular amongst Democrats, Independents, and Republicans. Sienna did a poll and said that it's not very popular right now. Look, and in an off-year election, they might have screwed themselves because they got to pass it again next year and put it on the ballot. There are no elections next year because they changed the law and moved all the elections to even years. So the Republicans have been able to defeat those referendums before. I'm not saying we're guaranteed, but I'm not saying it's done either. But that's the only way they can win seats is if they redraw.
Do you think, is 2026 the Zoran Mamdani election for Republicans? Is that going to be every attack ad?
Look, I think it'll be in New York. I think it'll be in New Jersey. Does it play in Iowa and the Midwest? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think it will. It definitely is going to play in New York. I think what's happening in New York City is definitely scaring the hell out of people on the ground.
Yeah, and Long Island is. A lot of people are working in New York City, so it's there's a lot of. Okay,
Mike Lawler probably survives because of what's happening in New York City.
Just ask him; he'll tell you. You voted for final passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Could you vote for another reconciliation package? I know a lot of your colleagues are like, we're not voting for stuff with a bunch of spending cuts again.
Yeah, listen. I think it depends what's in it. I know you've had Fitz and Lawler and everybody. I don't think anybody's a hell no right
Fitz
now.
is a hell no.
He says that right now. He says that now.
Well, he was a hell no last time too.
I'm talking to Fitz on that before, and I said, "You don't know what's in it." How could he's like, "You're right. It can't be a hell no." But he probably will be a no.
Yeah. So he's a heck no.
Or a hell no.
Yeah. That's what I mean. But again, until you see what's in it, you have to, you got to see what's in it before you say yes or no. I could. I also might not. It really depends what's in it. There's not a lot of sweeteners that have to go on. We were lucky. We got SALT done and a couple other things in the first one. Yeah. The border money. So there was a lot of good stuff in the first one. It'd be interesting to see what they come up with. I know they're meeting. I've been at a couple of the meetings. I know they're continuously meeting on what could be in it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's in the final proposal if there is one.
All right, Mr. Garbarino, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Go GW.
Presented by the American Petroleum Institute. In Washington, people talk about America's future. Across the country, millions of energy workers are ready to build it. But a broken federal permitting process is delaying the pipelines, transmission lines, and energy projects America needs. Congress must pass permitting reform to keep America strong, energy reliable, and our economy growing. Because when America builds, America wins. Learn more at permittingreformnow.org.
All right, we are back with the roundtable. Very excited to have Sarah Ferris with CNN and our very own Andrew Desiderio both back at the townhouse to talk about all that conversation. Garbarino had a ton to say on everything from housing, Save America Act, AI. What was your biggest takeaway, Jake?
Well, the housing thing, he thinks it's going to get solved. I think this is a mess. Train wreck doesn't begin to describe it. We could riff on this for a minute, guys. This is the biggest cell phone I've ever seen from Trump, for sure. They, as we said in the intro to the show, Anna, they had the stage set. They had everyone jazzed for this thing. They've been working on it for months. Brendan Peterson he doesn't have any hair, but if he had hair, he would rip it out.
He'd rip out his beard hair.
His beard hair, exactly. Because this is this is a huge win. And here's the thing that my spidey senses went up yesterday when I heard Trump in the Oval Office. You heard me talk about this in the gallery. You didn't because you weren't there. Trump said yesterday, well, I don't want anyone's current house prices to plummet because of this bill, which says to me that he has actual policy disagreements with this bill.
Which Brendan was tweeting about, kind of going back to the old, months ago storylines, and that he has for a long time had issues with this bill and didn't want to have it. The other thing to me that was the biggest takeaway was Trump is a solo actor. No one knew that he was going to tank this. This was not Republicans weren't in on. We had a housing summit happening and everyone is, taking a victory lap and talking about how great it is going to be. And then all of a sudden we get off stage and he's done a true social post.
Sam was on the Senate floor talking about housing as the post happened. And I saw a Thune staffer walk in with a printout of the post to inform him so that when he left the chamber and walked into a swarm of us, essentially, he would know why we're asking what we're asking, essentially. But Jake, what you said about the policy disagreement angle of this is really fascinating to me because it's a question of has he always felt this way or did someone get to him last minute? Is this really about the Save America Act? Who the heck knows?
Sarah, what do you think?
I mean, Trump is sabotaging the Republicans at every turn. There's a reason why members are asking, like, who is in charge right now? I talked to House leadership staff, and they have problems that Mike Johnson apparently knew this was coming. He got
a heads up right before is what he said.
They have some issues that Johnson is not willing to tell the president no on this, which is a long running issue. I mean, how do you? But it's very clear to me that there's causing issues inside the leadership about how to handle this strategy. There isn't a clear answer, but somebody has to take charge of the situation, and we haven't seen that from either party leader.
No,
it's an absolute train wreck. Just as things are, starting to get bad for Democrats, they have this issue with the Mandami slate coming. Everybody woke up Wednesday morning, and Democrats are concerned about these Democratic Socialists running their party, and then this falls in their lap, and no one, it's just like you could not write a script that is worse for Republicans.
I mean, let's talk about Save America Act, because I mean, we heard Garbarino basically say he wasn't equivalent. He hemmed a little bit, but was basically saying he didn't think FISA should be tied to this. I mean, Andrew, what's the way out of this?
Well, the way out of this for FISA is for the Senate to confirm Jay Clayton, the president's nominee. As you recall, the president basically halted the confirmation process of his own nominee, who was on a fast track, literally the fastest track possible for a cabinet level nominee, from 1 week from nomination to confirmation potentially. And then the president said, "Oh, you're not actually, you shouldn't attend your own confirmation hearing." And John Thune has no idea what the next steps are on this. Tom Cotton, the Intel Committee chair, has no idea what the next steps are on this. So that's how you unlock FISA, is you confirm Jay Clayton so that Bill Pulte is no longer the acting DNI. That's how you're going to get 60 votes in the Senate. Obviously, you need a lot of Democrats. Mark Warner has been working on that. And he had around 17 Democrats ready to vote with him for this bipartisan extension of FISA. And then president comes in with Pulte.
Sarah, let's talk about Anna Paulina Luna, because there's contagion here. This is spreading to the House of Representatives, where APL, as I call her, former guest on Flyout Day,
where she previewed this Save America Act fight, honestly.
She did. She said FISA. I think she said FISA. She did, yeah. Well, now she's saying she's going to keep the House floor closed in effectively perpetuity, although I do sense some softening in the last 24 hours with her, but maybe not enough. She says she wants SAVE attached now to NDA. She told me this morning, NDAA or FISA. I mean, does she back off? Does she fold?
I mean, yes, I think they will all have to fold. I mean, do you not want the House to function? Just go home through September 30th and fight over a CR? I mean, some House leadership folks are literally saying the way out of this is to send them home until September, which is not possible, viable. But that's where we're going right now. They have all these big wins that they want to put on the floor. But I think what we're seeing is there's this like polarization of the Republican Party on the Hill. You have Trump, and you have the MAGA loyalists, and you have the ultra conservatives who say, look, we do need to get our base out in this midterms here. You know what the base loves? The voter ID component of this election overhaul bill. Maybe. But when I talk to Republican consultants on the trail, and I'm like, what is he doing? And they say, well, he's trying to get out the vote. This is what he thinks is going to get people engaged and motivated. And there's people like Anna Paulina Luna who agree and see this is the way to show voters that you need them. And then you have folks like Mr. Garbarino. He didn't get into that too much today, but I think he would agree with me that the way to show voters that you care about keeping the Republican Party in charge of Congress is by doing things like a housing bill.
But Sarah, here's the thing I would say. If they wanted a voter ID bill, they could probably have gotten one.
They voted on one in the Senate. Senator Husted, during that long debate they had in March on the Save America Act on the Senate floor, they voted on Husted's bill, which was straight, narrow voter ID. It got 53 votes. There are 53 Republicans in the Senate. It failed 53-47. And there aren't the votes to blow up the filibuster.
There's zero reason for Democrats to help them out.
Exactly. I'm just saying, if you can't turn back time, right? But Schumer, when he was feeling pressure on this in the past, said, we could do a voter ID bill if you want to do it in a bipartisan fashion. Like, we could get this done. But Trump doesn't want to do that. The right doesn't want to do that. And what needs to be dispelled here is Trump isn't pushing the SAVE Act. He's pushing the Save America Act, which is much broader.
And does APL want that one, or does she want the one that passed the House?
That's the question.
She wants the Save America Act.
But the biggest thing is he wants to get rid of the filibuster. That is
I
underlying,
all
we
of
have
this.
to,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
acknowledge that.
Of course. And Thune
standing
ain't
in the
gonna
way.
do it.
Yeah, it's standing in the way. He views it as standing in the way of his agenda. He's thinking of the here, the now, the in the moment, short-term gratification. What Thune is trying to emphasize, and most Senate Republicans are emphasizing, is that this will have long-term implications, just like getting rid of the blue slips, which Thune always says for judicial nominees. He always says, under Biden, I was able to use the blue slip to prevent some far left judges from being appointed in my home state of South Dakota.
But it doesn't matter to Trump. And it matters to senators and House Republicans who are like, Trump is gone in 2 years. I'm probably going to be here in 8 years, and I want these powers, right, Sarah?
Yeah, and no one wants to tell Trump no, and Trump...
That's the problem.
But also Trump hates to be even suggested no, which is what is happening by Thune and by every single person who is maybe trying... Even Rick Scott inside the conference yesterday said, look, we don't have the votes for this. This is like my biggest priority. The votes aren't there, but it's that, and that's why we just keep going back into this circle, is that there is not enough else going on, that this is just gonna keep circling. I do think when we start to see the push for the Iran supplemental, I think there's gonna have to be some changes here. I don't know that you see the Freedom Caucus holding on when it's Sunday. I mean, there's gonna be other issues with it, but I think that'll have to shake, whether the House is in for the 4th of July week or not. Who knows at this point?
All right, we are going to round out the panel with my favorite segment. What's not going to fly, Andrew?
The talking filibuster. It is back. The notion was dispelled a few months ago by Senate Republican leadership, and we wrote a story about it too, about how unrealistic it is. Hasn't been used in 100 years. The proponents of it falsely claim that it was used to pass the Civil Rights Act in 1964. That's not true, because they got cloture on that bill. So Mike Lee, others are saying we got to return to that to pass the Save America Act, because they're realizing that really is their only play at this point. And the president is feeding right into it with these demands and saying, you need to attach it to FISA. You need to do it before you confirm Jay Clayton as DNI. You need to do it before I sign the housing bill. And what Mike Lee and his allies see is the talking filibuster being the only way to do this. It's just not workable. It'll jam up the Senate floor for months. And if you think Democrats are going to just eventually, due to just pure exhaustion and being tired, are going to end up supporting this bill at some point, you are sadly mistaken.
All right, Sarah.
All right, since we're talking about policy, getting real deep in policy, another bill that is not coming to the floor this week, as Anna Paulina Luna is holding up the floor, is this massive veterans benefits bill. It is, if you talk to the veterans committees, they say the House and Senate Veteran Committee, it's the biggest expansion of healthcare benefits for veterans in decades. It has actually caused so much drama on the Hill. Every Democrat is opposed to it, but also the VFW is opposed to it. The Disabled Veterans of America is opposed to it. And it's been the simmering under the surface drama for months, but it's actually, it's supposed to come to the floor. The expectations, it was that it would pass the House, but there's starting to be some Republicans who are worried that Democrats and even these veterans groups who've been funding them in the past will say, you're going to be cutting benefits to be able to pay for these other expansions, which is essentially part of the bill. They'd be taking away the benefits for sleep apnea and and tinnitus, and so it's basically caused this huge thing where battleground Republicans are very afraid of an attack ad from Democrats that says you voted to cut veterans benefits.
My not going to fly is, and I'm only bringing this up because I think that it's amazing how Anna Paulina Luna has the floor shut. It is a they're going to complain at the end of the year that they have to do a CR, but having the floor shut is going to prevent them from doing spending bills. This is a humongous issue. I don't know how this is going to end, how Johnson's going to unfreeze this, but he has to do it soon.
All right, mine quickly is Congress not moving on AI. I think we heard a very serious argument from Mr. Garbarino today about how important it is for them to figure it out. Nobody seems to know what to do, but just not doing anything. Congress not doing anything is not going to fly. All right, we will leave it there. Thank you all so much for joining us. Jake, what a great episode with Representative Garbarino, and especially timely with all of the massive things that are happening here in Washington. I mean, AI, FISA, Save America Act. I mean, we got to a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the AI stuff is fascinating to me. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be something that the Homeland Security Committee is going to have to focus a ton on, especially when it relates to cyber attacks. I mean, think about what he brought up, that somebody using AI could shut down a city's water system. It could empty a bank
accounts.
Yeah, don't empty mine, please. I'm begging you, don't empty my bank account. So I just think that's all very interesting. He's in the spotlight right now, Garbarino, because of America 250, the World Cup, the Olympics. It is summer vacation season. People are about, they're doing everything, they're doing the thing. And, he's in charge of the agencies that has to keep the homeland safe.
All right, that is it for us today. We are off next week, but please make sure to subscribe on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, and share this episode with a friend. Thank you so much for watching, and
have a great day, great weekend, great July 4th, everybody. Stay safe.